This is a pretty cheap level. Like, the problem with this level is that the penguins are everywhere. And they're always popping out of these little holes. So, even if you're constantly jumping, you're gonna run into them. And again, you can't just constantly... You would think that you'd be able to do a roll and go past the enemy after killing it, and then run to the next enemy. But, I don't know, there's such a small time frame for when you're supposed to jump to avoid it. I don't think you would be able... See, I tried to do the melee attack there. I don't think it's safe enough. I couldn't be bothered with that DK coin. I love the way the sky looks in this level. But this really is a cheap level. I don't see any excuse for having the penguins be there for the entire level. I mean, I can understand them being in a section of the level, but not the entire level. I think this is easily the most forgettable part of the soundtrack. Even though it sounds nice. The original soundtrack for this game by Evelyn Fisher was going to be included in the GBA version, along with David Wise's new soundtrack that's higher pitched, but memory limitations prevented this from happening. See, I got overwhelmed by the penguins there. But yeah, memory limitations. I thought the whole reason this game had a new soundtrack in the GBA version was because the GBA sound chip couldn't really handle lower pitched like sounds as well. And this game is all about lower pitched sounds. I mean, like, especially with the trumpet, with the intro theme. So I'm surprised they even thought they could have the original soundtrack in the GBA port. Because I thought they had a new soundtrack for a reason. Why would they make a new soundtrack for no reason? It really sucks that memory limitations came about. Because it would have been awesome to have an option to use the original soundtrack. I've never heard the GBA soundtrack. I just know that it sounds too happy at one point in the hollowed out tree levels. I really hate this boss. I remember when I was first playing the game, and the second time, I got so many game overs to this. Well, actually, when I was first playing the game, I was saving on the 3DS, so I got no lost lives, but... Well, no. My first time was on the Wii. It's hard because the DKC games I usually played with... Anyways, you have to dodge the snowballs. It's actually a really easy pattern to dodge, so it gets boring dodging them. Like, the only reason you'll get hit is because your sprite is so big. You have to hold down on the control pad if you want to hit him when he's here. Like, on the closest part to you. So, it's easy to miss at first because you don't know that. You just automatically assume you won't have to do the extra step. And of course, again, where the snowball is thrown, it comes from your character's right hand, not from the center of your character. See, I got tricked there. And like, on my second try, I immediately got myself killed because I got hit. So, I figured there's no point in trying if I had only one hit point throughout most of it. I really hated this boss when I first played it on the Wii. So, like, normally I play this game on Thursdays for this Let's Play, but I played it on Friday morning because I really didn't want to play this boss. I was very thankful that I killed it in just 3 tries. Yeah, and like you have to hold up on the control pad if you want to hit it when it's the furthest away from you. It's actually the easiest to hit it when it's the furthest away from you. Which has to be why that's the Which has to be why, at the end of the boss fight, you have to hit it when it's the closest to you the most. And like, my third attempt was actually my best attempt. Like, you can hit him immediately when the boss starts. And you can hit him pretty quickly again after that. But yeah, this is an entire level dedicated to the parrot. Again, it makes the animal buddies feel less happy, and like, it makes them feel like they're not a power-up when you're forced to play the entire level with them. But yeah, something to keep in mind is, like, go down and just keep going down after you kill the enemy. Because that way, you won't, if you linger, then you're gonna get hit by the enemy. This bonus game is pretty boring and tedious at first, because you have to keep going back for the barrel. I don't know why they didn't put another barrel to the right. But then it tricks you, because you don't know that you're gonna go up and get hit by the enemy. I assumed that they would be in safe, like, ledges where... Like, I didn't know that they would actually be in the sky and I would run into them. That is a cheap shot. Again, I didn't know that that was coming up because the camera didn't scroll up. So I was trapped in the center of the camera. There's a lot of cheap shots in this level because of the giant green things. I should have edited at this point, but... You know what? You know, it was worth it because I got to show off what the banana birds had. Well, I thought they were banana birds, but apparently this guy had a silver medal instead. What's this game's fascination with silver medals? What's the point? Like, I could understand if they were bananas, but not coins. The new soundtrack for this game is actually incomplete. K. Rool doesn't even have his own theme, using the standard boss theme instead. Wow, that's rushed. And Funky, Winky, Swanky, and the Brother Bear, and the Brothers Bears, all share one theme when they each had their own theme on the Super Nintendo. I'm sure they all had their own individual remix, because I certainly don't remember them all having their own theme. Aside from the Blue Bear one, he definitely had a different theme. But yeah, on the TV Tropes page, it says Brothers Bear. That's weird. And even the original Game Boy, like the Wrinkly and Brothers Bears themes were included in Donkey Kong Land 3. Well, first off, I'm still reeling at the knowledge that there's actually a Game Boy port of this game. But second, like, I'm sure that they had an 8-bit version of the soundtrack for that. So it was like 8-bit remixes of everything, I'm sure. And yet they had to compose a completely different soundtrack for the GBA version. They couldn't have, like, made GBA remixes that were more nice to the GBA sound chip. Though I'm sure a lot of these wouldn't sound good in higher pitch, but still. It's deceptively hard to make that barrel roll. Like I keep putting it down and, like, harmlessly placing it on the floor when I don't want to. They don't do anything to teach you how you're supposed to do it. Why did they program this into the game? What's the point of being able to put it down and just stay still? Like, I would understand if you could always consistently make it start rolling if you let go of the button while you were moving fast. Because then, like, it would carry your momentum. So, of course, the barrel would start moving once you let it go. But that's not how it works. Yeah, this is a pretty tense level. You have to be paying very close attention. This is why I could never do a live Let's Play of this game. Because the minute you start talking, or even thinking, you start getting more in danger. Because, like, these guys, their sprites are way too big. So, it's easy for them to pop out at you. It's not a bad it's not a really bad level. I mean, like I felt a feeling of freedom here, because I felt like it was safer to actually go fast. Because most of the time you have to go slow in this level, or you'll get hit by something. The bananas seem to lead you upwards. So, well, first off, you get led into that giant enemy that hits you. But second, the bananas just completely misled me, because there's nothing up here other than some more bananas. So who cares? I should have... On my second try, I do just go down and that's it. And it felt... Yeah, because spoiler alert, I actually die again. And it's actually pretty nice going... It was pretty nice going through this again. Because I was faster. Because I knew what was coming. And so I felt more confident in dodging the things. Like, it's actually... Like, I was obviously playing pretty cautiously in this level. I was... Like, there was times when I could have just gone, and I didn't. But you have to be careful, because the levels insist on having only one checkpoint, and only 2 hit points at max. Huh. I guess I did a crossfade, but I didn't mean to. But yeah, obviously I died. Yeah, like, I kind of appreciate, like, tense parts like this. This is definitely an exciting game. And you'd never expect it to be, because this isn't fast like Sonic. It's about stop and go, and taking it slow, and making sure everything's safe. While Sonic, you have rings, so the enemies are completely worthless. You're always going to be fine. But in this game, it's a lot more tense, because, like, the enemies are a lot more dangerous. This is the tedious part. You have to be pretty careful. I wouldn't be surprised if there was screen crunch on the 3DS Virtual Console version of this game. I mean, it is a smaller screen, so how could there not be? Well, there could not be if they just panned the camera out, had the character sprites be smaller. That wouldn't happen, though. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was screen crunch on the Donkey Kong Land versions of the game. Is there really any point to making a one-to-one Game Boy port? Like, was the demand so high that they couldn't just wait for the GBA port? Oh yeah, that was a cheap shot. Like the giant green thing that was at the very end of the level almost killed me, forced me to have to do it all over again. And, like, I remember Clement called it out as a cheap shot, too. His LP is definitely a lot more negative than I am. Like, I specifically remember... I'll point it out later. But yeah, speaking of Donkey Kong Land 3, that game was originally going to have a version of Rocket Rush from Donkey Kong Country 3, as evidenced by an 8-bit version of the level's music appearing in the ROM's data files. But then that idea was scrapped for unknown reasons. I said I was going to point it out. Like, it's actually... Like, remember that level where you were climbing upwards through the hollowed-out tree trunk, and there was this seesaw at the bottom of the screen? That's where Clement says, "This is why I hate this game." I'm sure he didn't like this part either. Because the fire can actually hurt you. And, spoiler alert, I don't finish this level in this part. Like, once I died, I was like, fuck this. I don't want to play this until next week. That being said, it's not like it's a terrible level. Like, it's definitely tense, but not in a good way. I mean, that enemy almost hit me. Those enemies, the enemies can very easily hit you because, of course, the camera's so zoomed in, so you barely have any time to react to them. And, like, you can't get too close to the fire, or you'll get hit. So you can't let yourself space out too much. And you're going to space out, because you have to keep an eye on the top of the screen to make sure that nothing's going to suddenly come out at you, like that stupid green thing. I didn't know that was going to show up. Like, I played this game 3 times. That doesn't mean you're gonna memorize everything. Like, it's so easy to get hit here because, like, you don't know where everything is. It's like every enemy is north of you, off screen. You have to anticipate where they're gonna be. At least the music is good. But, you know what's confusing? You can clearly see I didn't know he was gonna start moving diagonally. How was I supposed to know he was gonna be there? What's confusing is that you can clearly see a part of your character's sprite on the other side of the rope. And yet, that part of your character completely phases through any obstacles on the other side of the rope.